Okay, everybody, how's it going? This is Kyle here, and today I wanted to talk about kind of a taboo subject, a little bit interesting, but the idea of embracing sexuality and becoming comfortable with sexuality in the world and with other people, and just when you encounter it wherever you go. Um, there's a lot of institutional things that suppress sexuality and, tell people it's bad, tell people it's wrong, and all this. And obviously, a lot of it has to be suppressed in some circumstances. Obviously, a lot of it has to be suppressed sometimes because the complete expression of it all the time would be very, very chaotic for everybody. If people started expressing exactly what they thought sexually about other people, then you could never ride a subway. You could never, go read in the library. Walking down the street would be a nightmare. So it's something that obviously does need to be kept in check to some degree. There needs to be limits on it, yes, for sure. But at the same time, a lot of people have trouble accepting sex, trouble accepting it in general. They have trouble dealing with their feelings, and they feel a lot of guilt and unhappiness because they're, all these things that they really do truly feel, they have this need to suppress it, and it's not always good. I think there are extremes. Obviously, like I said, it does need to be limited sometimes. You can't just completely express it all the time, because like I said, that would be a nightmare. Um, I certainly wouldn't like, some gay guy, getting up in my face, randomly while I'm walking down the street. And a lot of women would not like, men accosting them, which some men still do, right? So obviously there does need to be limits, but at the same time, there's a lot of people who are so wound up about sex and sexuality that they can never express it ever. Like, they can never express what they truly feel, what they truly want in a certain circumstance. Like, and they go through life very closed off and not able to fully embrace, their thoughts and their feelings, and it's kind of a sad thing. I think it's kind of sad to be so limited, especially, like a lot of religions argue, all of the Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, they have limits of, basically keep it between a husband and a wife. But, even then, it's like, having any feelings for anybody would be, pretty bad, I guess, would be too explosive for the world, would be, if everybody started really honestly, guilt-free accepting, their own feelings and urges and whatever, like, yeah, things would get a little crazy. But at the same time, you do have to accept it somewhat and, not beat yourself up about it and not feel tremendously guilty about, what you feel, and not, I think generally, not try to live as a monk or a nun, you know, spending your whole life cut off from pleasure, cut off from excitement, you know? Is that really the way to go through your life? Seems a little sad, and you know, some people see it like life is like a test, and it's like, you know, I need to suppress all my thoughts and my actions and my feelings and all this. I need to suppress that because, you know, I need to prove that I can. I need to be in complete control of my desires and things like that. Basically be able to limit them as much as possible. And, I mean, yes, we all do need to suppress our desires. You know, a lot of us have intrusive thoughts and things like that that you can't get away with in society, or you shouldn't, because they're immoral, you know. But at the same time, there's a balance to be found, and I think you have to look for that balance. You have to look for what works for you, and what works for everybody else, I guess, in a sense. Like, even though sometimes, like, your desires conflict with other people's desires, but I do think there's something to be said for being an individual who's kind of open about, you know, how they truly feel and stuff, and, you know, not unnecessarily, you know, pretending that they're not the way they are. Like, so you do need to kind of embrace it to an extent. Maybe not completely, maybe not all the time, you know. Dial it back, obviously, at some point. But this also relates to something that I've kind of been finding about human sexuality, of there are behavioral differences between what elicits attraction for women and for men. So basically, men are turned on by superficial aspects, like the way a girl looks. It doesn't matter if she's good or bad or shy or confident, whatever. It's just looks, right? Has nothing to do with personality, really, for the most part. But women are more attracted to behavior. So women are more attracted to, like, fearlessness and boldness and assertiveness and kind of going after what you want. And so it's not surprising that the guys who are too shy to talk to girls don't get much attention from them. It's not, when you take that into account, it kind of makes sense that, like, you know, if they do select for behavioral cues, then basically the guys who are scared of following through all the way are gonna kind of get weeded out a little bit. So if you do want more success as a man, you do have to be a little bit bolder. And, you know, a lot of guys are kind of, well, they're like, oh yeah, you say that, you say be assertive, you say be bold, go after what you want, but they're going to call me a creep, they're going to call me a weirdo, they're going to, you know, scream at me that I'm a, you know, misogynistic, etc. You know, in our extremely feminist world, you know, like all that stuff. So yeah, you might have to face some of that, you know, the problems that arise, that you know, people might throw at you. That you being assertive and really going after what you want is can be a little controversial because most guys don't do that. Most guys are scared to approach women for those reasons. For the reason that they think they're going to get called a creep, they think it's wrong, they think it's bad, and they think, I think, more than anything, logically, they believe that women don't like it. They believe they have a worldview in which women don't like assertive men. And so if you believe that, you're obviously not going to act that way because you don't believe it's true that women actually do like assertive men. So if you can change your thinking about it, then, try and change what you believe about how the world works, then you can start to get a little bit more results, right? So I think you, as a man, if you want success, really don't discount behavior. Which is why, like, a lot of people get surprised, but there are like 6'5" model tier looking guys who don't have success with women, and then there are short, balding guys who do have success with women, and they're like, how does this happen? How does it work that way? No, because men are so visual, so we automatically think the best looking people, people are going to be attracted to them. And women do like good looking guys, they like tall guys, they like guys with modelish faces and all this, but really what it comes down to is behavior. So, they might get attracted to that guy, but if he's too shy to approach them, then nothing's going to happen. So, so if you want success with women, you have to go for it. And then I guess if I had advice for women, it would be to not be too afraid of your own sexuality, like their sexuality. That there's myths in our culture, and I think in the world at large, because this is like a global thing, like religion is a global thing, that women are pure and don't enjoy what men enjoy and stuff like that. And that's all BS. That's simply not true. So they like it too. They like they like what men like, basically. And I think that women should accept that. Now, women want, I think, to be seen as pure to a lot of people because it's really difficult for them to go about their life, kind of, on display, like what they like and stuff like that. So, I get it that, there needs to be the illusion of purity. And, the religious people particularly, need to put on that illusion of purity because they think that sexual desire is a sin and is a problem instead of something to just embrace, I guess. It depends on your worldview. But I think the problem with sexuality is that it's really controversial. It really brings everything to the surface, kind of. Like, it's a little bit of a powder keg, there's all that tension, and then, nobody wants to talk about it, it's like everybody's got these secret dirty thoughts or whatever, like everybody's like, oh, they're secretly dirty, and it's like, I guess part of it is kind of breaking the illusion of reality of how people operate, because yeah, like guys are going through their day thinking about all this stuff. A lot of them, like, you know, you look at teenage boys and you don't think they're dirty. You don't think they've got sex on their mind all the time. And so, yeah, a lot of men do have sex on their mind a lot of the time. And, you know, I think a good step forward is to at least be like, you know what? Whatever. It's, yeah, I do. You know, that's who I am. That's what I am. I can't, you know, suppressing it is painful. And I don't want to be living a life full of pain. You know, I'd rather live a life of fun and pleasure. You know, it's a choice I guess you have to make. And, you know, I guess sometimes it's tough to make that choice, but, and it's not for everybody, but, you know, I think there are benefits to it for sure. So, yeah, I think, you know, you have to be able to accept reality in its completeness, like everything about it, in order to master it, I suppose. In order to get better at dealing with it, you have to become better at, like, dealing with what's actually going on in the world, rather than how you want things to be. Like, yeah, I want things to be a certain way, but if they're not, then, you know, I'm living a lie, in a sense. And you kind of have to choose, like, are you going to live a lie, or are you going to be honest? You know, sometimes brutally honest, sometimes weirdly honest. And honesty is, it's a little bit rare, because a lot of our social norms are based on, you know, little white lies and little, you know, smoke screens and stuff like that. And it can be really tough to, like, go through the day, you know, do your job and stuff like that, while being more honest than, you know, like, lying, I guess. So, I think there's also an element of sexuality that, you know, it's like, if you express it, then you're not content with an ordinary life. Like, you're not content with just everything you see around you. You're not content with, like, you know, never having that, like, flirty interaction with someone. Like, you're never like, you know, you're not content with just pretending that you're, like, this androgynous asexual individual, but you actually want to kind of, like, be out there. You know, it's scarier in our culture, I would say. It's scarier probably everywhere, but there's obviously benefits to it, like, because you're living a more robust a life with a bit more depth to it, and, like, intrigue, like a life of kind of, you know, it's more exhilarating, which, you know, a lot of people make, you know, balance between comfort and excitement, and it's like, where do you fall on that scale? You know, some people love the comfort, some people love, you know, just living a ordinary, closed off life, and they feel like it gives them a sense of, like, satisfaction and peace. And then, yeah, some people like a bit more excitement, you know, a little bit more interesting stuff going on rather than just doing nothing. Like, so you I guess we all find that balance. We all have to face that challenge of like, where do we fit on that? And yeah, so it's kind of hard to say, I guess. I'd be honest. It's hard to accept sexuality completely because, of social programming, and, your worldview kind of changes, and the way you see people kind of changes. It's less innocent for sure, and, people want to desperately cling to their innocence. They, their purity. It's really about their purity, feeling, like they are pure individuals and stuff. So a lot of people want to stick to that. A lot of people want to live in that universe, live in that world, But is that the world we live in? It's not. It's not the world we live in. The world we live in is not an innocent place. It's pretty chaotic under the surface. But if, once you figure things out, it's like, is there any turning back? Is there any going back to, like, seeing the world as an innocent place? And do you even want to go back? Do you want to go back to that fairy tale? It's like, believing in Santa Claus again. It's kind of like that. So, I guess what I would say is, you take baby steps and stuff, but don't beat yourself up about it, and don't hate yourself about your sexuality. Whatever you like, you don't have to cut yourself off from, like, what you enjoy, however it manifests itself. Like, if you're gay or if you're straight, women, men, whatever. Like, don't worry about it so much. Like, just kind of enjoy yourself and enjoy life. And, I think there's not much more to it than that, like, so why beat yourself up about it? Just, enjoy it. And, maybe life will have a bit more value if you embrace what you enjoy rather than restricting it or fighting it constantly, making life a fight with what you enjoy. Instead, just, you can embrace it and realize that there's other people out there, and, they can embrace it too. And, that's, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it kind of frees people a little bit. So this was a, taboo, interesting topic, but hopefully you enjoyed it, and, leave a comment or a like or anything like that. So thank you for watching.